somehow affected 33 organizations blatantly with this funding freeze. Not true either. It affects the 14 student organizations that applied for AS funding. So that's another aspect of our criteria, is you have to apply for it to receive it. It affected 14 student organizations, most of which have probably already published by the time the funding freeze was instituted, and if they hadn't published already, they were nearing the deadline in which they had to publish, and they must have already fulfilled the purchase order contract, which is also stipulated 2 weeks ago to even get access to that funding. So to say that the freeze somehow silences student media is incorrect, because our current bylaws then by that standpoint silence student media, especially in this current campus crises that we're in. Because you couldn't have published a paper reacting to it anyway. Not this quarter, and if you're a new organization, not next quarter, under our current bylaws. Now, we could make changes to our funding bylaws to change some of those criteria. So maybe we could be more flexible when student media can apply for our funding. I mean, those are the criteria we're talking about here. Those are the type of criteria that we want to implement. I mean, we listed out some of the inadequacies. Maybe that's another inadequacy we can list with our current process. That is set current deadline.
So that didn't really answer my question. So you're going to change the criterion and make people conform to it. What kind of changes are you going to make that is not censorship, but is going to exclude an org from presenting their views?
I mean, that's what I was trying to counter with my own point, is that you could argue that our current bylaws do that.
Not because of
I mean, you can. I mean, you can argue that our current bylaws are restricting viewpoints that are trying to react to the current situation, and that our deadlines don't allow you to actually access our funding for this. I mean, that's how our current bylaws are stated right now. Is you need to submit an application for funding by a certain deadline. Now, if the objection is, oh man, if we add a criteria to say put departmental restrictions on it, then yes, you're reducing the public forum from which you can receive allocations. I mean, that's what the criteria do. It changes the size of the public forum in which, and those who can enter the public forum, who are eligible for that sort of funding. I mean, that's content neutral, viewpoint neutral, objective criteria.
Chris? So the criteria that AS set, I guess, or is this committee going to choose that criteria, essentially?
Right, so the committee would recommend criteria to AS Council.
So 5 media reps have no say.
Right.
The gentleman in the back with the glasses, you're sitting there with the yeah. So.
Yeah, I just want to say I heard some pretty horrifying things when I was in here. There's the gentleman who said, I don't want to take sides, and then also we'll fix this, and then we'll go back to business as usual, and comment about how we're not exceptionally racist. What the hell is that supposed to mean? And but anyways, I came here because I wanted to share a poem with you guys, and it's called America by Allen Ginsberg. America, I've given you all, and now I'm nothing. America, $2.27, January 17th, 1956. I can't stand my own mind. America, when we end the human war, go fuck yourself, you're having bomb. I don't feel good, don't bother me. I won't write my poem until I'm in the right mind. America, won't we be angelic? Won't you take off your clothes? Won't you look at yourself in the grave? Won't you be worthy of a million Trotskyites? America, why are your libraries full of tears? America, won't you send your ex to India? I'm sick of your insane demands. When can I go to the supermarket and buy what I need for my good looks? America, after all, it's united perfect, not the next world. Your machinery is too much for me. You maybe want me to stay. There must be some other way to sell this argument. Girls in 10 years, I don't think they'll come back. It's sinister. Are you being sinister or just some form of practical joke? I'm trying to come to the point. I refuse to go through my recession. America, stop pushing. I know what I'm doing. America, fun blossoms are falling. I haven't read the newspaper for months. Every day somebody goes on trial for murder. America, I feel sentimental about America used to be a communist when I was a kid, and now I'm not, sorry. Smoke marijuana every chance I get. Sit in my house for days on end and stare at roses and coffee. When I go to Chinatown, I get drunk and never get laid. My mind's made up, it's going to trouble. It's just seen to be remarks. My psychoanalyst thinks I'm perfectly right. I won't say the word fair. I have mystical visions and cosmic vibration. America has 7 village beliefs, which one Kumar is actually king of compassion.
Where we have the gentleman in the green shirt.
I just wanted to know, like, I'm trying to just get where you guys are coming from, but like, I still don't understand why people think it's okay to have our fees endorse a publication that incites and promotes hate against a certain group. You know, like that's not what I deserve. That doesn't protect my right to be educated. That doesn't protect my right to be free, to be discriminated against, to not be hated by my community. That doesn't sit well. Like, why people think that just because it's free speech, like that's okay. Like, so yeah, just go.
You mind if I respond? Wow. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm sorry for all the guys that you're assholes. Like, I really do. Sorry for my language. I'm not saying it's okay. I don't think it's okay. But to quote Voltaire, I mean, I might disagree with you. Sorry, now I'm going to quote okay, like, I will, you know, I might not agree with what you say, but I'll defend to death your right to say it. Like, that's what I value in this country. Our ability to be able to talk. Like, to keep that dialogue open. And no, I'm completely on your side. I completely think they were wrong, that they were jerks.
How come I don't have a right to be treated fairly? Like, how come I don't have a right to be free, like, to be safe, to be, like, be treated in a fair way by my professors, by the res people and all that stuff? Like, is it gonna have to take someone to actually be lynched for like, who will be responsible then when someone actually gets lynched?
I'll take it as a power.
We make fun of everyone.
That's not.
Sorry, we really just need to stop this. We are getting very close to the end of our list. We have one more new speaker. Everyone else is a repeat speaker. And given the hour, we're going to cut it off with the one more speaker who's yet to speak. So actually, this is the gentleman in the back next to the man in the green sweater.
Yeah.
No, sorry, you're sitting down, blonde hair. There you go. Yeah.
No, actually, I'm a repeat speaker. I was the first speaker. But I was just...
Oh, so we're done.
Long day.
All right. But I was just going to say that the man who used to work at ACLU, and now he gave a speech. Well, I transferred here from UC Santa Cruz, and I attended a college, one of the 10, called Oaks College. And they implemented pretty much word for word what he was saying. And they were by far, leaps and bounds, the most diverse college on that campus. So I've been there and seen that what his plan was worked about setting up courses that dealt with racial issues in this country and setting up recruiting. I've been there and seen it happen, so I think it's a super good idea.
With that,
I have a relevant question for, so sorry to just jump in, but do you have a timeline set up? I mean, I know that people are interested in, you know, how long this is going to take, and I'm also interested in a number of things. So do you have a timeline set up for when you're going to decide to take action?
Right, so this committee would have to start meeting next week. It'd have to throw a public hearing next week where we can invite all of you again and to display our results from this committee. And then it would submit a recommendation to council for its 10th meeting. Yeah, thank you.
So you were next on the list, so I allowed that. There are 3 more. I'll let it go really quickly, but no one else is going to be added. So Wes?
Yep.
Yeah.
So, well, first I want to address, like, Quell has been on this campus for 28 years. And I think that if there was a way, it's easy to not fund all media orgs, which is ostensibly one of the only ways to deal with this. But you've set a precedent of funding.